The reason it's so popular today is because people are so stuck. And the reason that they're stuck is because we live in a very affluent society. People they have what they want, and they still aren't happy. They are not successful in breaking through in their Judaism, and they're looking for a way to take away their pain and to get to the truth. And they've heard many times that these experiences, that when people use plant medicine, it can open the door. Now, just to take it back to my childhood, when I was young, I was serious about it. And I went to the gurus of psychedelics.
Hey everyone, before we dive into today's episode, I want to share something very important. This conversation goes deep, deeper than most episodes we've ever done. We're talking about spiritual searching, personal transformation, and yes, psychedelics. This episode is not for all ages. We cover sensitive topics that might not be appropriate for younger listeners, so please keep that in mind when watching or listening. Now, let me be clear. We are not promoting drug use. In fact, much of today's discussion highlights the risks, consequences, and spiritual challenges that come up with seeking shortcuts to fulfillment. Rabbi Baruch Gartner shares powerful stories from his own journey, his struggles, his insights, and the unexpected lessons he's learned along the way. Why are we talking about this? Because after consulting with trusted Das Torah over the past year, it has become clear that this is an important and timely conversation to have. People are searching for meaning in unconventional ways, and avoiding the topic doesn't really help anyone. We felt that Rabbi Gartner was the right person to open this discussion with depth, honesty, and spiritual wisdom. Please remember, everyone's spiritual path is different. It's crucial to consult with the right Das Torah who understands you and your specific situation. This isn't about following what your friends are doing or chasing trends. This is about making thoughtful, informed, and spiritually guided decisions. Finally, please watch the entire episode before jumping to any conclusions. There's so much wisdom here about growth, faith, and finding purpose. This isn't just a story about psychedelics. It's about the search for something greater in life. Thanks again to our sponsors, BitBean, the kings of software, ready to transform your company. Twillory, my favorite clothing brand in the world. Sword to Shekel, helping our soldiers in Israel live a better life. J Karaoke, the best gift for Hanukkah. And PZ Deals, the smartest way to get more for less cash money. This episode is in memory of Miriam Sarah Bas Yaakov Moshe and Shimon David ben Yaakov Shlema. With that said, let's jump in. Here we go.
I'm Yaakov Langer, and you're listening to Inspiration for the Nation.
Okay, Rabbi Baruch Gartner, I feel overwhelmed with how much we have to cover, but we got to start somewhere.
I agree.
Okay,
totally.
so let's take me back to your background, where you're from, and what was your younger life like, and then we'll transition to how you got to where you are now.
So I was born in Baltimore. Was not like it is today. Totally different town. And we brought up secular. One thing that was amazing was that I remember at my bar mitzvah, they gave me psicha, open the Aron Kodesh. And I guess I'd never seen it before. I opened the Aron Kodesh, and there were all these Torah scrolls. And I wasn't into this. But all of a sudden, I just started to shake. And it was not from this world, you know? And I don't know, that was just an opening for me. And it ended at that. And then I went on to, what can I say? Eastern religion, experimenting with what teenagers do. And eventually I started with psychedelics. Mm-hmm. And that was a big door opener for me, you know. And
I'm going to interrupt. Was that for you, for your family? Was that like normal, or were you like kind of breaking the rules?
This was the 60s, and I had people who were older than me that were really in hippies, and this was quite normal, and it was totally different for me because I think that the rest of the world was partying and I was looking for something. Sure. And even in those days that there were a lot of people who were just having a good time, I was searching for something, because I had the great advantage of being brought up around very affluent Jewish people. And they weren't at all religious, and they were, on the external, extremely successful, and inside, miserable. So I was playing tennis with these people and golf with these people, and I saw what was really going on, and I said, this is not where I want to go. I don't want to go there. So I was very, very lucky that I had this this clarity from age 16 that I wasn't part of the society, and I was looking for something deeper. And because I grew up among secular Jewish people, and I wasn't exposed to real Judaism, if there is such a thing as real Judaism, so it was clear to me that Judaism was not where I wanted to go. So I went to the Eastern route. Then my dear brother and my parents were concerned, and they kind of shifted me towards people who were like me, that had taken this path and come to Judaism. And thank God I made it to Holy Land, and that was at age 20.
Would you say the rest is history after that? Like as you got to Eretz Israel?
No, not at all.
No.
I mean, every day is a new day. And I'm notorious for changing gears and switching and always looking to grow. There's nothing robotic about what I do.
Wow, interesting. Okay, so I know we're going to delve in later on in the podcast, talking about like the ultimate way to get high in life. Spoiler, not with drugs. But could you, I think most people watching this, the average listener, and myself included, don't know much about psychedelics. Ayahuasca is becoming very, very popular these days.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah. So could you explain, I guess, ayahuasca or psychedelics in general, why it's becoming so popular, and the pros and the cons, and it's a heavy question.
Yeah, well, it's an important question, and I think that there's a real reason why it's so popular. But I do have to say right from the onset, and this is very, very important, because I am in a certain position where people look at me for advice. I'm a rabbi, and I'm not here to condone any use of plant medicine or any type of medicines, even though I have spoken at the different clinics and stuff like that. It's almost the opposite. I want to I want to educate people. Mm-hmm. And I think that the reason it's so popular today is because people are so stuck. And the reason that they're stuck is because we live in a very affluent society. People they have what they want, and they still aren't happy. Mm. They are not successful in breaking through in their Judaism, and they're looking for a way to take away their pain and to get to the truth. And they've heard many times that these experiences, that when people use plant medicine, it can open the door. Now, just to take it back to my childhood, when I was young, I was serious about it, so I studied it. And I went to the gurus of psychedelics. One of them, Huxley. He wrote a book called Doors of Perception. And in that book, he explains what all of them said. Timothy Leary and Ram Dass, Richard Alpert, a good Jew, who actually sat in on a class of mine when I was in Jerusalem, which was a big high for me, just to have one of my guru teachers to sit in front of me. So they all, hands down, said the same thing, that it's an amazing thing that a person can get through the door with these medicines. I call them medicines. But at the end of the day, they're just a door. Mm. And once a person goes through the door, he needs something, some kind of room, some kind of spiritual practice in order to make that experience real.
Interesting. Okay, so someone who goes through this trip, this journey with, let's say, ayahuasca, what what occurs?
So, first of all, we don't take it for granted that that's what happens, is because according to most religious authorities, according to halakha, it's almost like the last resort. A person should be going to therapy. A person should be doing a lot of things. I like to say when people come to me for coaching, very important. If you're not exercising, I don't want to work with you. Because why? If you're not using this free drug called exercise, and it's known to make people happy, so you're not serious. You're not really searching. You're not really looking for answers. You're just perpetuating the problem by saying, I tried this, I tried that, and tried the other thing. So people are looking for an easy way out. It's not going to happen. It's not easy is not the way out. It could be that these, and even when it comes to something like mushrooms and ayahuasca, it has to be done in the proper way. And it's not just like, my friend gave it to me. I went to this shaman. A lot of people don't realize that these experiences are surrounded with what we call klipot. They're surrounded with bad energy. So many people have told me that the music really, really bothered them in their experience. The religious practices behind it. Now, a lot of times people today are going to Jewish type of ceremonies, but still they're problematic. And I want to point out that there many people have had door-opening, mind-opening, life-changing, positive experiences. At the same time, after speaking many places, I've heard terrible stories of people who it literally has ruined their life. And I think it's important at least to talk about this.
So that's so interesting to me, because like one end, you have someone who it makes a life-changing experience, and then another person, it literally ruins their life. What, again, I'm mufka, I'm so separate from this. Like how does that even happen?
That's part of the mystery. We're talking here about a very powerful substance, whether it's mushrooms, ayahuasca, or ketamine. These are powerful substances, and they affect people in a different way. So, and I want to say this story over, and I don't want to. I'll try and change it a little bit. But I was speaking somewhere, and I could see that there was a young man that was very, very much paying attention to what I was saying. And I wasn't talking about I wasn't really speaking about this subject. And afterwards he came up to me and says, I saw you on Ellie Nash's podcast.
Sure.
And he said, I listened to every single word. And I have to tell you my experience. So I want to share this with you, because this was a beautiful young man who was learning in yeshiva. And he was experiencing for several years. He had been praying to Hashem, help me Hashem, I want to get married. He had a specific problem. And he heard from a friend that there's something called ayahuasca. So he asked his Rav, this is a boy who's really beautiful, learning from a good family. Went to his Rav and he asked him, is it permissible? I have this problem. I want to get married and it's holding me back. Can I do it? Checked it out. You can do it. He did it. And guess what? His problem went away immediately. He started calling up all of his friends, his relatives. This is the magic elixir. This took away my problem. You got to try it. I saw heaven. I saw God. Everything's great. Then a week later, took a glass of wine. And from that day on, his life turned to literally hell. He started seeing demons and one thing after another, depression. And this is now going on for several years. He came up to me, I want to tell you my story, how much I'm suffering just from that one experience. And he's not addicted. He's not doing it anymore. He's suffering from one episode of ayahuasca. Now, I told this over last night. I was having dinner with a person who I coach, and he has made major breakthroughs with mushrooms. And I told it to him. He says, I want you to know I'm in touch with several Rabbanim who are also social workers and psychiatrists who have told me that it's well known that several people out of 1,000 this will happen to. Now, we're talking here about playing Russian roulette. It's not simple.
Right.
You don't hear about it, but the Rabbanim and the doctors, they do hear about it. And it has to be talked about, it has to be brought out. And certainly, whatever you do, you want to do it with the proper atmosphere, not just fooling around. And you want to have integration, because integration is really almost like it's the sewing up after the operation. You experience something, now you want to internalize it. You want it to stay with you. You want it to affect you in a positive way.
I have two friends. I have more than two friends, but I'm thinking of two friends. They both did ayahuasca, and it was interesting to me. Didn't think they would, whatever. But one of them did it, and he was a frum person, and he got so much more, not frum, but more spiritual. And he was saying how he's able to understand more of Hashem. And then I have another friend who, unfortunately went off the derech, is no longer religious, and he had an experience, and he said, it was mind blowing, but he's like, I understand more how in his perception he doesn't see Hashem. And I was thinking, like, is an ayahuasca experience deepening what each of us deep down, what we think we believe? Is that what it is?
I think it's a mystery. It affects each person differently. The way I see it is it helps people see that there's a deeper reality to life. There's a unity behind all of the multiplicity that we see. There's love behind all of the hatred that we see in the world. And it can be very good and eye-opening and mind-opening and conscious-opening for many, many people. But at the same time, it comes with a price tag.
Could you tell me the story about the treasure?
Yeah, it's a true story. It was the first thing that Rav Simcha Bunim would tell people when they came to him, and also Rabbi Nachman brings this story. A Yid named Rav Yaakov had a dream, and he kept coming back that underneath this bridge in Prague, there's a treasure. And it kept coming back, but he'd never been to Prague, but it was clear to him that there was a treasure. So he was forced. He lived in, where did he live? He lived in Krakow. And he had to go find this treasure. When he got there, he couldn't believe it, because he literally, even though he'd never been to Prague before, he saw this bridge. And it was clear to him, just like in the dream. So he was sure that the treasure was there. But there was a problem, because the bridge was heavily guarded. And each time he came back to want to dig, he saw these guards. So he said to himself, what am I going to do? I want this treasure, but there's these guards there. And somebody comes up and says, why you keep coming back here? He says, I'll tell you the truth. I had a dream. Underneath this bridge is a treasure. Let's dig together. We'll split it. The soldier starts to laugh at him and says, you Jews, you're all dreamers. Last night I also had a dream. In this little town called Krakow, in this little shack, underneath the oven, there was a treasure. You think I'm going to go travel there and look for this treasure? As soon as he heard this, he understood clearly that was his house and that was his stove. He ran back home. Sure enough, it's a true story. He found a treasure. And with the money, he built a shul that people visit today, Rabbi Yaakov's shul in Krakow. Right. What's the moral of the story? What's the bottom line? Is that people think that their treasure, that they think that what they're looking for is out there. But really, they have to travel out there to find that really it's inside. And that's what we're right now, Parshas Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha, the first Jew, Shem says to the first Jew, go to yourself. That's the deepest connotation of the word. Go to yourself. You are your answer. Inside of us is a godliness, a portion of God. Chelek Elokai mima'al. And therefore, often a person has to go other places in order to find that the answer is really within.
Really beautiful, really beautiful. We'll be diving right back into my conversation with Rabbi Gartner. And if you are watching this episode, you are noticing that I am rocking a sharp and really cool jacket from Twillory. And of course, it has a hood. If you're looking for a jacket that is stylish, functional, and built for real life, meet the Twillory hooded jacket. Your ultimate blend of cool, style, and smart features. Sleek, modern design, you'll look sharp wherever you go, from the office to the weekend. And what's nice is it has a removable hood that's ready for any weather. Snap it in, or if you don't like it, you can take it off. I personally like it because rain. Now, I know you're thinking you want to keep your essentials secure and accessible with a clever hidden pocket. Yeah, it has magnets, no zippers, no fuss. You're going to have crafted from premium materials that move with you and last season after season. Whether you're headed to a business meeting, a night out, or you're going to shul, the Twillory jacket keeps you looking sharp while packing practical features you didn't know you needed. And you'll get $18 off your jacket with the code word INSPIRE at Twillory.com, because function should always look this good. Now, everyone knows about PZ Deals, the go-to for finding the best discounts, but you may not know that they have a gorgeous, easy to use, and completely free app. This app will change the way you shop forever. So imagine having every active coupon code from your favorite stores like Zara, Nordstrom, Saks, all in one place. That's the promos page on PZ Deals. And before you hit checkout, just check the app. You'll never pay full price again. But that's not all. Ever had your eye on something specific, maybe AirPods or a Duna stroller or that perfect bugaboo? With the deal alerts page, you set up alerts for the products you want, and they'll notify you with the second the price drops. No more refreshing websites or waiting for an email. Just sit back and let them do the work. And here's the game changer: custom notifications. You can choose to only get notified about price mistakes, ensuring you never miss a crazy deal. Push notifications are essential. You'll know about deals before anyone else and before they expire. Just last week, users snagged free round trip tickets to Europe through a rare fear mistake. Some saved over $1,000 per person, enough to upgrade their hotel stays or extend their vacations entirely free of charge. Deals like that vanish fast, but not if you have the PZ Deals app and you have the push notifications on. It's not smart to buy any deal, but it's also not smart to pass up great ones. PZ Deals makes sure you only shop the deals that matter most to you. Download the PZ Deals app today, link in the show notes, and never pay full price again. Now, we're going to get back to this episode, and I know there's a lot here, but I need to talk about Sword to Shekel, and it's the way that you're going to light up Hanukkah in a big way. When war breaks out, the world watches closely, but as time passes, tension fades, and while the struggles for Israeli soldiers continue, thousands of soldiers have left behind their families, jobs, and businesses to defend Israel. Many haven't worked in months, and some have lost everything due to the war's impact on the economy. This Hanukkah, let's show these brave soldiers, and even before Hanukkah, right now, let's show these brave soldiers they are never forgotten. Sword to Shekel has already distributed over 600 gift cards to 400 soldiers, bringing them joy and relief. Now, we're preparing even more gifts to brighten their Hanukkah by giving truly impactful presents purchased from small Israeli businesses. We have the opportunity to uplift those protecting our homeland while helping local stores stay open. Each gift turns gratitude into hope and resilience. Here's their impact.
Since the war began over 1 year ago, many Israeli soldiers have not had the chance to take a breath, recharge, enjoy their families, and tend to their businesses.
קרוב ל-300 ימים במילואים, כמעט 10 חודשים ברצף.
בזמן שאני בלחימה בעזה, אשתי בהיריון, בעצם העסק לא יכל להמשיך להתקיים במצב הזה.
When we're at war, the whole country is affected. He's in the army, I have to hold the house, holding everything together, juggling everything together.
Sword to Shekel provides Israeli soldiers vouchers to enjoy a 2-night, 3-day getaway, which includes meals, gifts, activities, and products, giving them a much-needed break. Your support also helps support struggling Israeli businesses where all products and services come from.
We're here today with a very special unit from the IDF to give out to 400 IDF soldiers over 600 gift cards and 3 grills that we're raffling off.
We're really feeling the hug. Thank you so much.
To get the appreciation that people know that you are doing something, that's the best thing they can get. After 270 days of fighting in Gaza, I want to thank you for all the gifts and the vouchers that they give us. It makes us stronger in the front line.
These Sword to Shekel vouchers allow us the time to breathe.
אם לא העזרה הענקית הזאת, אני לא יודע אם אנחנו היינו מצליחים לעבור את המלחמה הזאת ועוד לעמוד על הרגליים. צריכים לבחור בין המשפחה בעצם לבין הלחימה, בין המשפחה לבין עם ישראל, וזה אולי הדבר היחיד שהשאיר אותנו ככה עם האף מעל המים ונתן לנו זמן קצת לנשום ובאמת להחזיק את העסק שלנו כמו שצריך. אני מודה לכם, לכל המשפחה שלי מודה לכם.
You are giving us the power to continue fighting for Israel.
So please, donate now.
Thank you for everything, we appreciate it.
ביחד ננצח. עם ישראל חי!
Open your hearts and give to swordtoshekel.org, because even when the headlines fade, our support shines on. Light up the lives this Hanukkah, one gift at a time. And now back to this week's episode. Why is it that in today's age, 2024 leading to 2025, that so many of us don't see that inner treasure is in us?
Because the external world is like flashing lights. It's so interesting. It's so distracting. And we are almost enticed to go after it. There are holy sparks even in these external things. And part of being in exile is to gather these holy sparks. But the only way that a person can effectively elevate the holiness in the external world is being connected inside. So it's almost like the whole world is a big distraction. And the only way he's really going to get to his ultimate truth is to delve in, connect with his inner being, and then he can go out into the world and effectively interact with the world and help the world and elevate the world and bring about the final redemption. And that's, in a nutshell, the whole story of the tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. It's brought down in the esoteric teachings of the Kabbalah. Most people don't know this, that really there was no prohibition against eating from the tree of life. That was God's desire. He put man in the Garden of Eden. He only said, from all of the trees of the garden you shall eat, meaning from the Eitz HaChaim, but from the tree of knowledge, good and evil, you shouldn't eat. Why did God create this tree that you shouldn't eat of? It was a temporary prohibition. Hashem wanted Adam to cling to the tree of life. Once a person had that foundation, and I say, really, that foundation is a foundation that we get in our lives by basically being brought up in a Torah way and learning Torah 5, 10, 15 years old, 20 years old. And then after you have that foundation, you go out to the world and you have that capability of being focused. And at the same time, you can go out in the world and not be drawn after the vanities of the world. Same thing is with the daily practice. Every day, even a person who's already working, he takes the first couple of hours of his day, connects with the tree of life. That connection keeps him focused for the whole day when he's out into the business world. That's the paradigm of the divine plan. There's a tree of life. You connect with that. You align with it. That's the title of the book. You align with it. You align with divinity. And then you go out and you elevate all of the components of the world that are part of God's plan. And Adam didn't understand that. Adam said, why did God create the tree of knowledge of good and evil if he didn't want me to partake of it? And the truth is that this ayahuasca is good and evil. Exactly. So if you want to elevate it, you really got to be grounded, and that's most people aren't.
what do you say to the bad theory, and it's not popular, but I've heard like one or two people who are like so pro ayahuasca. They're like, well, the burning bush, Moshe Rabbeinu. What do you say to that?
That's a great one. It's kind of funny because the burning bush was a historical event that took place. It wasn't the giving of the Torah. It wasn't ayahuasca for sure. It was a sign that God was calling to him. And people want to actually say that Moshe ate from the burning bush. It's a joke.
It doesn't
Moshe
say that,
Rabbeinu's prophecy was 100% prophecy, face to face with God, not in a dream. He did it through hard work, hard inner introspection. Of course, Moshe was gifted, but all of the prophets achieved prophecy not through plant medicine, and and therefore I think it's important to mention that unfortunately people are neglecting their own heritage. I'll tell you a story that happened. When I started talking about this, I was speaking by Gedalia Fenster, sure. And there was a particular person there. Also, afterwards, I saw that he was very much listening, and I went up to him and I gave him one of my books, and we started to develop a relationship. And I found out that his name is Jay Godfrey, and he owns a ketamine clinic in Manhattan called Neshama. So we started learning together. He's a great guy, and he invited me to speak there. So after I spoke there, somebody hooked me up with Ellie Nash. I spoke another time about psychedelics. And then people started talking to me. And spontaneously, a bunch of people said to me in their quote-unquote trips, in their experiences, they felt like Hashem was saying to them that they need to learn more about Shabbos. I talked about this idea that these trips, these experiences are just a door. After the door, we need to create a room. So I said, this room is a spiritual practice. They came up to me and said, Rabbi, I want to learn about Shabbos. But it was not 1, 2, 3 people. I said, well, this is crazy. Why are these people coming to me and they all want to learn about Shabbos? So I started to try and figure out what would be the best door, portal, to help the portal goers embrace this practice of Shabbos. So I delved into the teaching of Rabbi Nachman, and I came up with a teaching where Rabbi Nachman talks about the importance of being happy on Shabbos. Most people are not aware that Shabbos is as powerful as anything to take a person whose difficulties that they feel like they're far away from their Judaism and they want to come back. Shabbos is shavta, return. Shabbos is a reset. After the transgression of Adam, Hashem gave him Shabbos to re-enter the garden. Every week, a person can re-enter. Every week, a person can reset and connect with Hashem. The same is true in general, that this aspect of Shabbos, that it says Shabbos is a gift. So in the commentaries of the Gemara, it explains, the Gemara itself says, I have a great gift. It's called Shabbos. Moshe, go let the people know. The obvious question is, why do you have to tell them about a gift? Just put it in front of them. No, you don't understand. Shabbos is so high. Shabbos is so special. You need somebody to explain it to you. This is the secret of why Hashem chose Moshe to tell the Jewish people about Shabbos. If you want to really understand something deep, powerful, you're going to need somebody who's the embodiment of Shabbos. Therefore, Hashem sends us Moshe, who is an aspect of Shabbos. And Rav Nosson in the Kutilos explains that you need both. You need a entity called Shabbos, and you need a tzaddik who embraces Shabbos. Therefore, we need a bridge back. What is that bridge back? That bridge is the entity, the tzaddik, who embraces the beauty and the joy of Shabbos, and at the same time, the parameters of the fear and love at the same time. And it's through these type of people that we can help people understand that Judaism is really the highest of the highest, the trip of all trips. And that's what I'm interested in. That's what I do. That's my life's work, is connecting people who are on the outside and helping them bridge the gap from their problems that they have in life, their problems that they have with Judaism, and help them reintegrate and recognize the beauty, the power, the holiness, the healthiness of our heritage, Judaism.
That's fascinating. It's so interesting because online, on like X and Instagram, like Reddit, like you'll see some ideas thrown out from most likely non-Jews, maybe Jews who aren't affiliated. I'm not sure, but like certain ideas, and it's like, wait, that's in the Torah. You know, like someone like, one day a week I don't use my phone. It's like, wait, we have that. Like we had that baked in before phones was even a thing. And then not just Shabbos, you see that with so many ideas, marriage or just so many mitzvahs. And it's like, wait, we already do that. It's so interesting.
I think almost all of the religions of the world are copying Judaism. And a lot of times when these religions copy our Judaism, we kind of like shy away from it. I heard this idea from the rabbi historian.
Rabbi Wine?
Yeah, Rabbi Wine said an amazing shot, an unbelievable thing. He said that for instance, Eretz Israel, because Eretz Israel was embraced by the quote-unquote Zionim, so the ultra-Orthodox, they shy away from Eretz Israel. The same thing with the Maskilim, they embraced Lashon HaKodesh. So the ultra-Orthodox shy away from Hebrew.
Right.
So it's well known that there was a Jew 2,000 years ago who recognized there was a problem with Judaism, a big problem. There were people who were afraid of fear. They were afraid of all the restrictions of this religion. They were afraid of this God who was jealous and angry. So therefore, he wanted to revamp Judaism. And he basically said, we're going to revamp it. We're going to make a religion of love. We're going to throw out all of these directives. Well, you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. We need these directives. These directives are the Torah. But there's a problem, because the Baal HaTurim explains you should fear God. Tira is gematria Torah. Tira, fear, is the same numerical value as Torah itself. Yes, the Torah is full of directions. Yes, the Torah says don't do this and don't do that. But really, these directives are part of Hashem's communication to us. He wants us to follow them. He wants us to enjoy life. He wants us to come close to him. You can't just throw those things out. So what happens is that there's people who are allergic to fear. In fact, there was a beautiful conversation that happened between Rav Zusha of Anapoli and the Jose from Lublin. And he said that before Mashiach comes, it says in the Gemara, it's going to be so bad that people who are God-fearing are going to be despised by the population. And you can see that that's exactly what's going on. There's so many people that are they're just like so not into ultra-Orthodox religion. That's really the true Judaism. What's going on here? So he said the deep connotation that's really going on here is that before the Mashiach comes, we're in a process of getting closer and closer to our real relationship with the Creator, which is a relationship of love. So people are going to say, we don't want this uptight Judaism. We don't want the old way it was. We want a new Judaism. But really, this new Judaism is not a Judaism without fear. We need a bridge. What is the bridge for people who are on the outside to come close? Those are the true tzaddikim that sweeten the Torah. They make it palatable. They make it joyful. And this is why Rabbi Nachman said once, I today am from Freilich. I am very, very religious and very, very happy. That's the true Torah. And therefore, the mitzvah of being davuk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to be clinging to Hashem, the way to fulfill this commandment, which is incidentally 365, 24/7 commandment, a directive. How does a person cling to God? There's a problem here. God's fire, the Gemara says. Hadbek b'tamid chachamim. A person has to cling to tzaddikim, to connect themselves with people who embody the Torah in a way of joy and also according to the laws of the Torah.
Someone who's kind of lost with their life, and let's say they come to you and they ask you, maybe they should do ayahuasca, maybe they should do mushrooms, or maybe this alternative medicine, Torah, getting high on Torah. What's that conversation like? And like, what's the first step that you suggest to these kinds of people?
When I was a kid, I'm going to answer the question,
Sure.
but when I was a kid, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have computer games. We had toys, real physical toys. One of my favorite toys was a barrel, and inside of it, there were these figurines of monkeys.
Right, sure.
Right? And they were all shaped like this. And the trick was to make a chain as long as you could. I say jokingly, I'm just a monkey in the chain. But I assure you, above me, they're very, very, very holy people. So my job in life, I feel, because I obviously grew up on the other side of the ocean, on the secular side, and I'm immersed now in a community of the ultra-Orthodox. I'm like in the middle. I'm a bridge. I love to connect people who are sometimes very, very affluent and also very unhappy to the people who are extremely austere and really, really happy. And I think that the connection helps both sides. And it's clear to me that this connection is part of the Geula process, bringing the redemption. And therefore, I've developed what I call the Jerusalem Midnight Experience, where I take people to the Western Wall. I have a kollel of 36 tzaddikim, and I take people and we say the midnight prayer at the wall, which I'll go into a little bit more.
Please.
But we say the midnight prayer, and then I bring them back to my kollel, and we rub elbows with these very holy people. I learn with them a set of ideas that helps people understand how connecting ourselves to tzaddikim is really the answer to all of our problems.
Interesting.
What are our problems?
Yeah.
Why are we in exile today? After 2,000 years since the destruction of the Second Temple, everyone knows the reason we're in exile today is because of baseless hatred. Okay? So we know. The Gemara itself says, yes, we know, but we don't know. Because this transgression is constant and hidden. Nobody even knows they're transgressing. This is the separation between people. People are not capable of making connection with people. That's why I love connection. Connection is everything. It's life. And the people who are so distracted, they can't even connect with themselves, let alone connect with other people. So what is the rectification? is that we need constant connection. What is this constant connection? This is the secret of the midnight prayer. According to the Zohar, when a person wakes up in the middle of the night, takes responsibility for something he might not have even have done, he's pushing the button of Hashem. He's literally activating the highest level of highness. There's a energy that happens at midnight that people who are awake and praying and learning at that hour are privy to a high that all of the blessings from the heavens come into the world. It's a chut shel chesed. Now this concept of chatzos and this idea is very esoteric, and it's really not for everybody in the world. But on the other hand, either was what was going on in the temple. There were Kohanim, you're not a Kohen. There was Levim, there were sacrifices. Not everyone was sacrificing every day. This place was really the constant connection of the Jewish people to God, 24/7, 365. But all of the Jewish people were connected to this group of, please forgive me, fanatics who were totally immersed in service to Hashem. So the Zohar says in Parshas Noach that Hashem is waiting for us to do tshuva. Rabbi Eliezer says, how can it be that the Jewish people are all going to do tshuva in unison? Isn't one at the end of the heavens and one is at the end of the earth? Theoretically, Rabbi Akiva should have said one is in Honolulu and the other one is in Japan. No, he said one is at the high heavens and one is at the end of the earth. Really, the separation of the Jewish people is not a separation of proximity, but a separation of headspace. Therefore, Hashem is waiting for us to unify. So therefore, Rabbi Elazar says to Rabbi Akiva, Hashem is waiting to make a tova for Klal Yisrael. He wants to make it easy for us. Even if we can just get a critical mass of people who are coming together to make unity, but it's imperative that this unity is not just elite people, that it has to be a group of people like Yisachar and Zvulun, people who are businessmen and people who are great Torah scholars. So it says in the end of, in Zos Bracha, it says that when Moshe Rabbeinu blesses Yisachar and Zvulun, he puts them together because they made this partnership. And it says, Somach Zvulun b'tzeisecho, Yisachar be'olecho. Be happy in your going out when you're doing business, and Yisachar in your tents. And the second verse, it says that the nations of the world are going to come to do business, and they're going to come during the three festivals. They're going to see Yisachar and Zvulun sitting together at a table learning Torah, because during the three festivals, they're going to be sitting down together and they say, let us see how the Jewish people serve their gods. And they come and see these two groups of people who are theoretically so diametrically separate from one another, sitting down together, and then say, wow, there's no people like the Jewish people. They're so unified. We want to convert. And they come with all of the shefa of the world. They come with all of the bounty of the world. There's literally Rashi in Chumash Dvarim, in Parshas Zos Bracha. And this is the key to the redemption. What we need to do is recognize that in our backyard, in our Yiddishkeit, are ways that we can get really, really, really high, and we can really unify and bring down divine influx to the world and push Hashem's buttons, so to speak, and Bez Hashem activate the final Geula.
We'll be right back to this week's episode. But first, this Hanukkah, light up your home with J Karaoke. Imagine me singing Mi Amcha Yisrael. Obviously, you can see that I am not the best singer, but Betty Friedman and Jody Newcomb with my family, laughing, harmonizing, and mostly them just laughing at me. With jkaraoke.com, you can create the same fun at home. Kosher Home Entertainment is here. Enjoy thousands of Jewish karaoke tracks from timeless classics to today's hottest hits, all with vocalized lyrics, options, and mid-song key changes. Perfect for all ages, whether it's a family game night or a Hanukkah party, J Karaoke delivers year-round entertainment that's fun for everyone. And I know we are all scrambling for a new idea what to do by our Hanukkah parties. This is the biggest hit. We loved it last year, and you will love it too. You can order it now and get it before Hanukkah. If you're watching this episode, you can see me carrying this personalized mic. You have the karaoke kit right in front of me. It's awesome. It's great, and you will love it. Wireless mic with built-in speakers and cool sound effects. You have the family karaoke machine with dual mic capability and pro-level sounds. They have a lot on their website. Go check it out and see what's right for you. But it doesn't end there. There's a special Hanukkah offer for the Inspiration listeners. You will get 15% off all merchandise with the code L'chaim. And what's amazing is US-wide delivery in just 3 days. So visit jkaraoke.com or email info@jkaraoke.com. There's a lot. They also have merch, and if you get merch, you get better deals. Go check out their website, and I kid you not, yes, this is a nice device, and it's cool and it's cute, but the thing that you're paying for is the memories that you're going to form with your family. Again, my family is laughing at me. I'm not a singer, but you know what? Who cares? With this, everything comes off, and it's amazing. Make this Hanukkah unforgettable and start singing today. And now let's talk about my favorite, BitBean, the software company that transforms businesses' confusion into clarity. If you're running a business, it can feel like juggling too many moving parts. Processes get tangled, inefficiencies build up, and progress slows down. That's where BitBean comes in. They don't just create software, they create solutions that bring your entire operation into focus. BitBean's team digs deep, asking smart questions to uncover hidden challenges. They don't settle for surface level fixes. They engineer custom solutions designed to streamline your workflow, eliminate bottlenecks, and power up your team's performance. Whether you're in a real estate, healthcare, or any other industry, BitBean brings a fresh perspective that helps you work smarter, not harder. The innovative, transparent process ensures your business runs smoothly with every system connected and optimized. Ready to break free from business headaches? Visit bitbean.com and see how clarity, strategy, and next level software can redefine your success. BitBean is clear, custom, and transformative. See the possibilities and achieve them. Now, back to this week's episode.
So practically, someone listening, and whether they've done ayahuasca, they know about ayahuasca, they know about psychedelics, even me, I have a very limited understanding, and obviously after this conversation, a little less limited, but that experience, that out-of-body kind of experience, understanding the unification and love of the world, how practically, like how could someone get that through the Torah and Yiddishkeit? Like practically.
We believe that everything that a person needs is in the Torah, but I believe that most people don't believe that. I think that because let's be realistic, most people are not fluent in Hebrew. So they're not swimming in the water, really. But I like to say that if a person really believed that the treasure is in the Torah, how much effort would he make to delve into it and to figure it out? I mean, that's what I did when I was 20 years old. Now, people are into taking pills. They want quick relief. If a person wants lasting, true happiness, inner peace, he's going to have to do work. There's no way around it. Like I said, even the gurus of LSD knew that. They knew. I quoted when I spoke in Neshuma. I quoted Richard Alpert, that Ram Dass, that says that he was tripping for 5 days straight. And he said it was out of this world to be so high for so long, but in the end, they kicked me out. And therefore, he and others afterwards pursued spirituality. We're Jewish. There is great power in our heritage. There is great holiness in our heritage. I particularly love learning Zohar. Zohar is easier than you think. You just have to sit yourself down and start to read the words and become fluent with it. When a person does that, he activates the holiness that's in the Zohar. He activates, we're sleeping when the holiness is taking place. So therefore, I invite people, come, connect yourself, rub elbows with the people who are really holy, and let it rub off on you. We're also, I was talking about this idea that we're allergic to fear. So where's the center of the world? Yerushalayim. What is Yerushalayim? Yira Shalem, perfect fear. We're often in a state of fallen fear. We're afraid of things that make us, uptight. But really, what we need to do is not run away, but we need to plug in. Therefore, there's a mitzvah to come to Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim, and therefore the Torah says about the Shalosh Regalim, the 3 festivals, a person should go 3 times a year to Yerushalayim because it says that in order to learn to fear, you have to learn to fear. It's not easy. It's something that needs to be cultivated. You need to exert. You have to push a little bit. You have to recognize that is the source. And in order to reconnect, you're going to have to put in a little bit of effort. And I think that instead of running away, we should look inside.
What's interesting about you is you come from a non-Orthodox background, and now you're steeped into maybe the most Orthodox place in the world, in Eretz Yisrael and Israel, in Yerushalayim. Do you see that the system that was created, I don't know if the system was created, but the Orthodox life that now, let's say, like, take an average guy living in Teaneck or Muncie or Brooklyn, and he lives a frum life, and he has the keys to the secrets of the world and the universe and to live such a happy life. But the system, and maybe you were referencing this before about like the sparks of holiness in the holy places, but like there's an emptiness there that, like, if our grandparents saw what we have, the fact that we can live in Eretz Yisrael, the fact that for the most part you could live a religious life wherever you want, really. But we're still so, not all of us, but so many people are so disconnected, and they could be disconnected, but they daven 3 times a day. They learn. They do as many mitzvahs as they can. They don't cheat or steal, and they eat kosher, but they don't have that like real relationship with Hashem. Do you see that?
For sure. I think that what inspires me is not the multitudes of people who are disconnected and empty, as when I was growing up, but finding the unique people who are connected and full of joy. And that's really the secret of this mitzvah of clinging to Hashem, which means clinging to tzaddikim. This idea, which I kind of skipped over, the idea of that this person 2,000 years ago who said, "I am the way," really he was an early version of the Baal Shem Tov. The tzaddikim are the way. The tzaddikim are the way. They are the bridge for the people who are on the outside. We need to connect ourselves to the people who are happy. We need to connect ourselves to the people who are connected. And that's the secret of one of the things that I learn with people on this magical trip, is that the Gemara says anybody who has das, who's connected to Hashem, he's like a walking Beis Hamikdash. He is the temple. And when you go to see him, when you connect with him, it's like going to Yerushalayim. It's like going to see the temple. So this is a very important component of bringing the Jewish people back, is that we need to connect with the people who are connected. And that's possible. So many people in America think like, okay, I have a rabbi and I live in Ohio and that's good. Well, great, you're a rabbi in Ohio, is great, but is he happy? Is he connected? Maybe he is, but does he inspire you? Does he daven the way you want to daven? You know, have you ever seen people daven with joy? Have you ever heard it, seen it? I say to people, come, experience it. You can see on Google reviews. If you look at Google reviews, it's not in this world. You just say, people who have come say, it really is a high. It's something you never see anywhere else. People dancing after davening, people jumping up and down for joy because they're davening. And you can feel it in the air. You can feel the holiness in the air. You can feel the joy in the air. And this is also a door. It's a life-changing thing. And it's something that a person can connect himself to. It's something that a person can use as a way to change their attitude towards their Yiddishkeit.
What you're saying is so interesting because I lived in Far Rockaway and I had the shul that I went to, and my Rav was Rav Mati Newberger and Rav Eitan Feiner and people that like I admire so much, and I get so much information and I ask them questions and I see how much Torah they have and how kind they are. Like it's the full package. And I moved from there and I was so connected to them and whatever. I there was nothing in Far Rockaway, whatever. I moved and I feel so, connected to them. And before that I had, my Rebbe, Rabbi Victor and Rabbi Center and Eretz Yisrael. And it's like very hard for me to like move away from my Rabbanim, my Rabbeim that I love. And I gained so much, just for being near them, I gained so much. And, when trying to find the proper shuls, proper synagogue, I split into three things, I think, that's there. There's the chevra, the people around, they make up the shul. Then there's the actual davening, the style, the pace, the nusach, the singing, how much talking, how little talking, and then the rabbanim. And I personally feel like the rabbi of the shul, that for me is the most important. And of course, the other two things are very important also, but that like is the way I want to choose a shul. And unfortunately, I think so many people, they delve into, which friends are there or which nusach it is. And those are important also. And I just find it like, wait, you're the person that is hopefully higher than you and you want to connect to them because they're so great and you want to learn from them so you could be a better person. And that focus there's not as much focus as I would have anticipated there.
Yeah. Look, if we want to elevate ourselves, if we want to get higher, so we're going to have to attach ourselves to something that is higher. And it's great to have friends, and each one of our friends has in him a special point of holiness. Each person has a tzaddik inside of him. And we also have to know how to connect to that. That's a very important point, is that inside of ourselves and inside of every person is the aspect of the tzaddik. The tzaddik is this point of connection, this point of truth. But we need to start to focus. That's what the concept of tzaddik is, focus. Somebody who's plugged in to their holiness, doing what they were created to do. And we are distracted. There's a lot going on, and it's natural to be distracted, but being distracted is going to take you away from your inner peace. It's going to take you away from your joy of life. And this really important idea that, look, we're locking eyes, we're connecting. This is so dear. This is life. But people don't do this. They sit there with their phones.
Right.
They sit there distracted, and they don't realize that that is destroying our lives. We need to connect. We need to connect. We need to be connected and focus on elevating ourselves, focus on connecting with that nakuda, that point called the tzaddik inside of us and the tzaddik in other people, and pick ourselves up. It's possible. This point is our godliness. That is the holiness inside of us.
It's a really good point. Jokingly, I'm like, wait, maybe everyone should just start a podcast because then they can have sit down, face to face, hour-long conversations with people.
It's not a joke.
It might be a nice idea.
It's a great idea.
And maybe that's why I like podcasting so much. I openly admit all the time, I am 100% addicted to my phone with WhatsApp and Instagram, like the Twitter, like dumb things. So maybe that's part of like my neshama, like loving to do the podcast because as you see, I'm at my phone. I see the time over there, but no distractions. It's 101, me and you in this room. It's nice.
Connection. My favorite word is connection. And also, one of the things that I share with people in this Jerusalem midnight experience is the last day of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's life. It's unbelievable drama going on because he knows he's going to leave the world. He knows that now is the last chance he has to empty his pockets of all the secrets that are not yet revealed. And he opens up this discourse with the verse from Shir HaShirim, Ani ledoidi ve'alai teshukaso. I am to my beloved, and to me is his desire. So he's going to use this verse to explain to us, where does Rabbi Shimon's special magnetism come from? Why do so many people flock to him when he was alive, but all the more so even after he passed away? 500,000 people come to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Why? He says, because all of my days that I was connected to this world, meaning that my soul, which is godly, was pushed down into the physical world, and theoretically that separates me. No. Rabbi Shimon says, I was connected in one connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He was connected. He never got distracted. He was constant connection. And therefore, he connects with Klal Yisrael. That's the aspect of the tzaddik. And therefore, it's my favorite word, connection. Mm-hmm. Connection is what we want. We want to be connected to our souls. We want to be able to connect to the person we're talking with. We want to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, person has to be aware of that because that is life.
Wow. If someone wants to join the Midnight first of all, is it for anyone? Could anyone join? And
we haven't figured out how to do it with women.
Okay, so it's for the guys.
But if we change a guy's life, his wife will also be
right. That's true. So if someone wants to join it, how do they apply?
We have a website, Chatzos Yerushalayim. You put it in the description.
Yeah, I'll put in the links in the show notes.
And there you can find the short video and an article from Ami Magazine and Google reviews. It's really, really, really life-changing. It's one night, 5 hours. I know it's in the middle of the night, but I'm telling you, people don't fall asleep, no matter what. I've never had a person fall asleep on me. It's very interesting. It's very engaging. And it really is out of this world.
How often do you do it?
Well, I do it every night.
Do you really? When do you sleep?
I say that the energy helps a person sleep less.
Really?
You don't want to miss it. It's like a show.
I'm coming there to Israel in a few weeks.
It's interesting because the verse says in Shir HaShirim, it's brought down many times in Zohar. It says that at Chatzos, Hashem goes into Gan Eden. Why is he going into Gan Eden at midnight? Because he remembers the destruction of the temple and the exile of the Jewish people, and it's the hardest hour for Hashem. So why does he go into the garden? So it says in Shir HaShirim that Haverim makshivim lekolech hashmieni. Hashem goes into the garden with his tzaddikim that are in the higher worlds, and what are they doing? They're listening to the people in this world that are learning Torah at midnight. Meaning to say that their focus, their delight their comfort is what we're doing here in this world. And that's why the people who are up at that hour feel this energy, feel this holiness that you can literally feel in the air. And I ask people, I say, do you feel it? And they say, yes. Like I said, people aren't falling asleep. It's very energizing. And therefore, you don't need to sleep as much. Of course we sleep, but we don't miss these sweet hours.
This is like maybe a dumb question because I just don't know how it works. Do people do Tikkun Chatzos on Shabbos, or it's not a Shabbos thing?
So Shabbos has an abridged version, but mostly Shabbos is the one night that people... it's more to connect with your family than it is
or to actually sleep, because if you're not sleeping the whole other nights. Got it.
But we're literally 6 nights a week, and also, if you can believe this, Bein Hazmanim, when people are on vacation, and Chol HaMoed, we're there. And why? Because it's fun. Because it's enjoyable. It's something that you don't want to miss, and that's novel. That's unique, and that's why it's exciting. That's why it's inspiring. What does it mean, inspired? Inspired in spirit. You're in your soul mode. And because people are not adept at connecting with themselves, they're looking for things outside, and they're looking for a quick fix. But really, it's not that way. It's inside. It's where you least expect it. The treasure is in your house. It's by you. Lech lecha. Go to yourself.
I love that. And I know we didn't really get too much time. I know we said ideas from your book, which, by the way, we have the first name Living, your book Living Aligned. And if someone wants to buy this book, where's the best place?
Amazon.
Well, the classics, the Svarm store, Amazon. Really incredible. Could we finish off with, you might need to think for a second, could you finish off, I love how you say stories and mushals. Could you finish off with one last story? Maybe, I don't know if it's summarizing this topic. Yeah, okay.
Of course I can.
There you go.
Of course I can. I don't want to spoil for those that are going to buy the book, but this is the way I end the book. It's an amazing story that literally changed the history of Chassidus. Well known that Rav Zushia from Anipoli met his Rebbe, the Maggid, before Rabbi Eli Melech. So when he met his Rebbe, it literally changed his life. And his brother, there was something going on. What's with my brother? He started to look after him. He went after him one day, and he sees him in the forest, standing on his head and falling over. Standing on his head and falling over. He's really gone off. He decides to confront his brother, Zushi. He says, what's going on? I see that you maybe you did ayahuasca or something. So he says, holy brother, look, I'll tell you a story. And this is the story that Rav Zusha tells to Rav Elimelech that changed his life. Many years ago, a farmer and his wife, they had a beautiful little farm with goats, chickens, cows, growing vegetables. And they were slowly building up their business, and it was going very good. And all of a sudden, the farmer says to his virtuous wife, thank God we're successful in everything, but what does it all mean? What's the purpose of all this? She says, what do you mean? We're doing great. He goes, in the capital city, there lives a king, and everybody loves him. And we're so far. We never see the king. What are we doing here? So she says, what do you want to do? She says, I think we should sell it all and move to the capital city. She was a virtuous woman, and she understood that her husband was on to something. And that's what they did. They sold everything. They moved to the capital city. They got themselves a little apartment in the capital city, but it didn't take long before they found out that even in the capital city, you don't see the king every day. Was very disturbed. What am I going to do? I got to get to see the king. So he said to his wife, we have a little bit of money. Let me try and use the money and bribe somebody to get a job inside the castle. That's what he did. He got the entry job of helping heat the royal castle. did his job with diligence until finally he was elevated to being the fireplace maker for the royal chambers. And he did his job with such care, with such love, until finally the king said to the CEO of the castle, what's going on with this fire? He goes, yeah, it's a new guy. No, you don't understand. It's the best fire. I never seen a fire like this before. I want to meet this guy. Next thing you know, this farmer / fireplace maker is standing face to face with the king. He says to the king says, I really love your fires. And he turns red and he says, it's all for the king. I'm so happy just to be able to make the fires. The king says, I want to do something for you. What can I do for you? He says, King, you don't understand. Just to do this job is all I want. So the king says, no, I want to do something for you. So he thinks and thinks and thinks. He says, you know what? I really, really want to be able to see the king every day. Now the king blushes and he says, can't see the king every day. Sometimes, I'm not up to it, but I'll tell you what I'll do. You see the fireplace over there in the mantle? I'm going to make for you a hole. Before you light the fire, if I'm sitting on my royal throne, you can look and see. Maybe you'll be able to see me. So that's what he did. Every day before he lit the fire, he would go head first into the chimney with his legs up into the air and look and try and focus and see if he could see the king. One day, he's looking and there was a royal banquet and he sees the king with the prince. Evidently, the prince had a little bit too much to drink and he said something not nice and the king got angry and he banished the prince from the castle. For a year, can't go back. So every day, the prince is now on the outskirts of the castle, like a caged animal, not being able to get in to see his father. And he sees the fireplace maker going into the chimney with his legs dangling up in the air like this. He says, whoa, what's going on here? He's a spy or something. He taps on his boots there and he says, what's going on? He sees the prince and he says, come, I'll show you. I know your story. Come, I want to show you something. And he stuffs the prince into the chimney to see his father from the hole that he made in the mantle. And the prince is rejuvenated. He sees his father after he hasn't seen him for a week. He comes up and says, wow, can I come back tomorrow to see my father? I said, nah, you don't understand. You're the prince. Now Rav Zusha takes over the story and says, Ma'ilech, you're royal, you're the king. I went to my Rebbe, the Maggid, and he taught me how to align, how to see, to focus, to align with Hashem according to who I am. Go to my teacher, go to the tzaddik. He'll explain to you, he'll help you connect to the way that you have to serve Hashem, the way you have to see the king, the way you have to align with the divine. And that's the story that changed Rabbi Elimelech's life, and that's the message that I want to say to every single person. Each and every person is unique. For some people, it's ayahuasca. For some people, it's tikkun chatzos, waking up in the middle of the night. For some people, it's this tzaddik, and for this person, it's this book. But we have to believe that we each have a way that we can connect with Hashem. And we have to be stubborn, and we have to be convinced that we can do it, but we can all align with Hashem.
Really beautiful. Rabbi Gartner, if there's a way that someone, if they want to reach out to you, do you have an email or?
For sure. First of all, the website, chatzosyerushalayim.com, Rabbi Gartner, gmail.com, and there's also rabbigartner.com, a website.
Sure.
And
we'll put the links and all the info.
I'd love to see everybody in Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, the holy city.
Okay. Thank you so much for doing this.
Okay.
This week, was deep. And if you got this far, please leave the word deep in the comments. And we'd also love to hear what you think about. Maybe you have something to add about the subject or story or insight. I know a lot of people might. Before we get to my thoughts, if this conversation resonated with you, know that it's just a small glimpse of what Rabbi Baruch Gartner has to share with the world. If you're ready for the trip of a lifetime, a one-night journey into the energy, secrets, and spiritual heights of Torah, I strongly encourage you to experience his incredible experience. There's a link in the show notes where you can learn more and sign up. Those who have attended have said it's a life-changing experience they'll never forget, something truly out of this world and beyond words. We'll also include a link to his website, podcast, book, YouTube channel, and WhatsApp groups, so get involved. Thanks again to our wonderful sponsors, PZ Deals, the smartest way to stretch your dollars and snag unbeatable bargains, Jade Karaoke, the ultimate Hanukkah gift that brings music, fun, and unforgettable memories to your home, Sword to Shekel, supporting Israeli soldiers with helping them live a better life, Twillory, my go-to brand for stylish, comfortable, and durable men's clothing, like their jacket, BitBean, the software kings ready to revolutionize your business with clarity and custom solutions. What an incredible and eye-opening conversation with Rabbi Gartner. There's so much to take away about spiritual searching, personal growth, and making thoughtful, guided choices in life. If this episode inspired you or got you thinking, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss future episodes that can uplift and challenge you. Share this episode with someone who might be looking for clarity or direction in their life. Most importantly, remember that every journey is personal, and no matter what you're going through, it's essential to consult with Das Torah, trusted, knowledgeable, and experienced and reputable Das Torah before making any major decisions. Like we said, spiritual growth isn't about following trends or doing what others are doing. It's about finding the right path that's unique to you, guided by Torah wisdom. Here's something to take with you. As Rabbi Gartner reminded us, the treasure isn't out there, it's inside. Often life's biggest breakthroughs happen when we stop chasing quick fixes and start connecting with our inner selves, supported by Torah and guided by Hashem. Remember, inspiration is everywhere. Bye.
Living L'chaim.